Good morning, afternoon. Hello. Welcome to 3R's Sports, minus the one R that's already it's all late. Robbie, do we have to talk about Rodgers being late every week?
Well, he's not early yet. Usually he's like 10 minutes late. So if he shows up like 9:05, then he'll kind of be early. We need to start a Tom Coughlin regime. Like if you're on time, you're 15 minutes late.
You got just enough. You got on in time to hear me screaming at my daughter to bring me a Band-Aid because I broke my $5 lawn chair from Walmart, and I cut myself somehow breaking a lawn chair.
That sounds like a lawsuit.
It does. We'll be looking up the name of the manufacturer shortly, and I'll be contacting my legal representation of. Well, we'll talk about that later when we do the. If you'll look at the bottom scrolling though. The football kickoff show.
Look at that.
From Davis, Kessler and Davis. With Chappie's Fantasy Chat from Dr. Roto. The Off-Centered Sports Card Show. My first ever podcast, D. Swain. Howie Chaney, Phil Harris, and much more. August the 17th. It says 8 to 12. But the truth is we'll probably go to about 11, and that's probably as far as we'll make it. But Jonathan Mathis from out on the West Coast joining us. Jonathan's got a great little podcast himself. We love seeing you jump in on here, buddy. Maybe we'll have him on one day. He's a great West Coast guy, like our friend Rod is a great West Coast guy. So both the big Dodger fans. Robbie, let's go ahead and get into the show, and let's see if Rod, how much he misses. Of course, Rod, you were just debating whether we were doing a whole segment on live sporting events or not, less than 5 minutes ago on text. Jonathan, we appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate your Robbie. This dude is so in tune with the Lakers. I'm telling you, if you want some Laker inside, go join Jonathan.
Hey, chat us. Is Chris Paul gonna be a Laker next year?
Jonathan, what's your prediction on Chris Paul? Well, I actually already know this because I've read an article he released where he predicted Damian Lillard was headed to the LA Lakers.
I saw they're going to take a pay cut, but I just don't imagine that's going to work out. I just can't I can't do the math on the salary cap to get that to work out.
You know, while we're already talking about the salary cap, let's see if Rodgers here. No, Rodgers not here yet. I was talking with Jonathan the other day, and literally they're already talking about the Hawks having to cash it in because they're over the salary cap. Meanwhile, the Knicks, the Nets, the Lakers continue to sign players and players and players. The Hawks have one run to the semifinal, and they're over the salary cap. So it's amazing, isn't it?
It is. Well, you know, that's what happened. And Trey's still on his rookie contract too, which is the mind-blowing thing. Like, how is that possible? Oh, look
mind-blowing. Hey, welcome there, Mr. Late. We have a strict 9 o'clock policy now for you.
I saw Rob comment on you being late or whatever, so I figured I had an extra 15 minutes.
I cut myself.
Well, I got to get an ice pack.
We're just talking. My buddy from the West Coast, Jonathan Mathis, joined us.
All right.
He's a big Laker guy. We were just talking. What do you think, Rod? You're the Laker guy. Chris Paul to the Lakers, Damian Lillard.
I mean, I don't see the assets there. It's the thing I've heard the most is Kuzma, which I'll pay for his plane ticket, and Montrell or Trez probably signing and then being part of that deal for Buddy Hield. That's the first deal that I heard, and apparently Harrell has no problems going to Sacramento, which makes him the first person on earth to say that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they don't have a lot of assets, in my opinion. They're going to probably lose the German dude with highlights, Dennis Schroeder, the point guard, former Hawk, and they're going to need, obviously, a point guard. Chris Paul just tweeted out about, let's get this Phoenix. We're not done yet, that type of crap. So I don't see it. And if memory serves, they tried to get Chris Paul years ago, but Dan Gilbert, the whiny Jerk that it is, and a bunch of others shot it down because they didn't want a super team. Well,
David Stern's worst moment as commissioner.
I agree, 100%.
You know,
I don't see either of those guys.
Jonathan's saying the same thing. He thinks it'd be difficult to get Chris Paul. And they just don't have a lot of tradable assets. I would agree with that too. The one thing that I've heard Hawks and the Hawks being local, they're probably going to let Lou Williams walk, who's on a huge contract. And that probably solves a lot of their cap space for a year or two. But you're already letting players walk.
Hey.
And you've got Trey, as Robbie said, Trey's on his rookie contract, and they're having to let Lou Williams walk for contract.
Yeah, I mean, once Trey gets on his second contract, assuming he stays in Atlanta, I mean, all the money's going to him.
Absolutely. And again, we want to invite everybody, August the 17th, 7 to 11 or 8 to 12, but let's be realistic. Probably 8 to 11, unless Robbie and Rod get into the bourbon real strong. From Davis,
so I'd say 7 till 2 a.m.
Yeah, 2.
From Davis, Kessler, and Davis on Cherokee Boulevard. We will have, listen to this lineup, guys, before we get in the show. I'm going to invite Jonathan to join us, too. Jonathan, officially consider yourself invited to the football show.
Is Jonathan on the phone right now, or is it just his
Messages
message there? Because he's obviously very intelligent based upon his comments. So I'd like to get him
absolutely.
on.
He's an LA podcaster, man. He's got a lot of Los Angeles based podcasts.
Oh, dope.
I'll link you his site here later.
Yeah.
But let's run through this lineup of who we already got committed. From Dr. Roto, and yes, I said it, Dr. Roto, Sports Illustrated, has broken off into his own website. His lead baseball guy, Chappie of Fantasy Chaps. Congratulations, Chappie.
Well done, bro.
Jonathan says follow his YouTube channel. So we'll link that up in a little bit too.
Is he Sports Judge 85 on Twitter?
That is it. I think he is the sports judge.
Let's confirm, but yeah, that's legit, bro. I like it.
Out of Lions, Michigan, representing the Big Ten and the Detroit Lions, the Off the Center Card Show. 2 great guys, and they'll be there with us. From my first ever podcast, D. Swain, of the D. Swain and B-Lo Show, D. Swain will be joining us. From Off the Record with Randall, Howie Cheney will be joining us. And our power guest, 35 years in broadcasting, from Alabama's most powerful radio station, the voice of high school football in the state of Alabama, my buddy Phil Harris will be joining us.
All right.
Big lineup, guys. All right, we got a confirmation. Sports judge is Jonathan Matthews. So let's jump into it real quick.
I just followed him.
Go. Aaron Rodgers, grandstands. Makes it seem like he's not coming to camp. What he ends up getting out of his grandstand is our local Alcoa boy, Kentucky graduate, Randall Cobb. Did Aaron Rodgers really want Randall Cobb, or did he have to get something out of this situation? Robbie, we'll let you be first off the tee today.
So that press conference today was like a real life Festivus. It was a airing of grievances. It was just, what all have they done wrong to me? And this is what I'm going to do back to them. I think Green Bay won this battle because Aaron's coming back to them to play this year. And that's what they want. And this Randall Cobb thing was a kind of a situation where what Rodgers was complaining about was the high character guys that they let go in the past. And so, yeah, give me a friend in the locker room, essentially is what it sounded like to me. Give me a buddy to get through this. This is a divorce that has been set a year out, and we've got to get through this. And so Randall Cobb is my buddy who I can talk to about this, that I trust. I need him in here. and also go out here and play, and I'll play at a high level because he's going to play at a high level because he wants to go where he wants to go. And I've heard mixed reviews about what this contract is and can he get traded or can he walk. I think the Packers they have to trade him. I'm not sure who they have to trade him to. So yeah, this was just this is like a joint bank account. They're sharing the money, and it's going to be awkward all season long.
Raj, does this change the perspective having Randall Cobb at slot receiver? Now, I'll remind you, this football team just spent a third-round pick on Amari Rodgers, who most expected to be their slot receiver, was their highest offensive draft pick. So what narrative does Randall Cobb do to improve this football team?
I mean, is this 2017? Or 2014 or 15? I can't remember which year it was. I mean, the coolest thing about Randall Cobb to me is his middle name is LaDonald, and that's all one word, and that's dope, dude. I'm a big fan. I know he's from neck of the Alcoa or somewhere, Knoxville. Man.
Mama Cobb was a loyal Sprint customer back in the day and told us exactly what a piece of crap Phil Fulmer was for telling his son he couldn't play quarterback. He should be a wide receiver. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know how to feel about Fulmer's advice, but he did play quarterback at Kentucky, right?
But he's playing wide receiver for money.
Yes.
Well said. No, I mean, this is just Aaron Rodgers. Like, okay, I got worked. I whined like a baby, and they win. But I want Randall Cobb. I think it's a concession trade, or concession addition, in the sense that he hasn't played a full season since 2015. Last year he had 38 catches. He had 55 the year before, and then 38 the year before that. He's at 1,000 yards one time in his career. That year he also had 12 touchdowns. The last 5 years, I think he's had max 4 TDs. He's not the guy he was. And yeah, he's in the slot. He won't get that many advantages or chances, rather, blah, blah, blah. Dude, I mean, I feel like he's like homeboy, the white kid what's his name? That the Raiders signed and thought he would do something on Green Bay, number 87. God, why can't I think of his name?
The Clemson guy? Hunter Renfrow?
Oh, no, yeah, that guy's on the Raiders. No, the old Packer receiver. I wanted to say
Camaro?
No, you guys know. Who was the other
Jordy
receiver?
Nelson?
Jordy Nelson, thank you. I kept thinking like Ricky Prohl, but it's not 2000 Rams or Arizona. Yeah, thank you. Jordy Nelson. Jordy Nelson's pretty much done. I don't think Randall Cobb is a difference maker by any stretch. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is just Rodgers saving face to some extent.
Yeah.
I'm sure I agree with you that he probably needs someone from the old days with him. I mean, is Bakhtiari still there? Like, aside from that, I can't think of a guy on that team that was there when, in the good old days. But yeah, like I said, I think it's saving face, in my opinion.
Well, so if you're the Packers front office and you say you're like, okay, Aaron Rodgers is coming back, and his one demand is us to bamboozle the Texans in a trade. We got this. That's not a problem.
Yeah, that's Dunzo if that's the case. Yeah. Let alone the Texans.
We can bamboozle the Texans.
I mean, if O'Brien was there, they could have gotten probably Deshaun Watson and played him at receiver.
Yeah. You want our whole team for a 6th rounder? Yeah. We got you.
Done. Yeah, they're the only team more. Well, actually, they are the only team more incompetent than the Raiders, especially on draft day. But I mean, am I wrong in saying that Rodgers just kind of went like, okay, I win. Like he got worked in everything he was trying to do, so to speak. I mean, the guy held out. Did he just want to stay out of camp and spring ball or whatever, or mandatory summer? I don't know. Like most people wait till the end of like fall camp to say, okay, I'm good.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. The Green Bay Packers won. They were just like, no, like if you don't want to play, you will sit out. Like, and they just hung tough. And Rodgers Vincent was like, you know what, I'm gonna play because that's what these guys do. And like, yeah, as much money as you can make. I mean, it's not about the money at this point. It's just that he's only got a few years left, and he's looking at legacy. And man, you've only got one. A lot of people have one. You got to get to because he is an all-time great talent, and to be in the conversation, you need to win a couple more.
Honestly, I think he's the most talented quarterback ever to play in the NFL.
Well, Patrick Mahomes has something to say about that.
Patrick Mahomes has done it for 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, we discussed this to an extent that are we talking athletics? Are we talking, obviously Joe Montana would run a 40 and 6.8.
So let's exchange this. Let's put Patrick Mahomes on Green Bay's team and put Aaron Rodgers on the Kansas City Chiefs team. Let's now draw out the scenario where those two teams are at. That's what I would use. You put Aaron Rodgers on probably half the NFL teams, and I think they're an instant Super Bowl contender. I don't know that's true for Patrick Mahomes. I know he's great when he's surrounded by great talent, but Patrick Mahomes has had Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, and some kind of phenomenal running back his whole career. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers has had anything other than Davante Adams and a bunch of throwaway.
Aaron Rodgers has some good teams, but my pushback would be, is the opposite true? Like, could you say, like, put Mahomes on anyone, throw them open, we're going to find out from Mahomes in about 2 years. Yeah, I would say it's more the transition of the NFL's offense versus defense that's making all these quarterbacks great. Like, as far as if you want to talk about just talent, it's I think it's Mahomes and then Rodgers very, very close. But I wouldn't have a big argument if you flipped them. And there's and Brady's still the greatest clutch game player ever. Peyton Manning may be the best preparer ever. Joe Montana may be the second greatest big game player. Quarterback is a different kind of position in sports. That you are truly the guy with the football on every single play that your team has it. So,
I'll tell you, Randall Cobb's biggest catch is his wife. I presume she's Persian with the last name Gahramani. She's an attorney from New Jersey. I'm Indian. My wife is white, and brown and white usually make adorable kids. These two, she's beautiful. I hate to be misogynistic. I don't intend to be. She's gorgeous, and their kids are very good-looking kids. And, Randall Cobb really did well in that. I think he's got light eyes, and I hope those aren't color contacts, because if so, then my perception of him just fell to the floor. Don't wear color contacts if you're a dude.
Hashtag GNA or DNA. Sorry, DNA.
Both.
Yeah, both of those going on 3R Sports tonight.
We're starting out bad. We're going to get worse. Anybody else? Anything? Aaron Rodgers, are the Packers a Super Bowl contender? Yes or no?
Yes.
Rog?
As long as dudes stay healthy, yes.
They were 4th and 5 from the championship last year.
Absolutely.
Well said.
I have one more question before we go any farther. How smart do I look for drafting Aaron Rodgers in every best ball league that I've played in up to now? I'm just going to reach around, pat myself on the back, get some, son. I've been getting him in the 8th and 9th round. So,
how'd that work out for you?
I'm very excited about my opportunity in best ball.
Best ball is different.
Something this year. Moving on to the world of MLB.
Right.
Locally, the Braves have made 2 trades for Jock Peterson and the 37-year-old Stephen Vaught. Immediately sending rookie sensation catcher William Contreras to the minor leagues, still leaving one sports broadcaster named Randall scratching his head. Are we going to see one of these big names and Bryant, Scherzer, somebody leave? Or are we going to see another trade where somebody's desperate to get a middle reliever, so they send Fernando Tatis to San Francisco in a trade for James Shield, or somebody sends John Smoltz to the Atlanta Braves for Joel Alexander? What's going to happen at the trade line? Robbie, you want to let Rod start, or you want to take this one?
Well, I'll give you my notes. So I think the DeGrom injury opens the NL East up. So do the Braves add a hitter? The West National League super competitive. I think Hosmer will be on the trading block. I got the AL East, the NL East, the NL West, all very close. And then we had breaking news before we went on air that Joey Gallo went from the Rangers to the Yankees.
Huge.
Yeah, so that's my baseball analysis. That's all I got.
I didn't know about Joey Gallo.
Yeah, it happened about 30, 45 minutes ago. That's because that's what the Yankees need. Yes, he does. And he also, one year he had more home runs than singles. He's a strikeout master. Led the league in strikeouts a few years ago.
Is he right-handed?
That's why they acquired him. He's lefty, and they needed a lefty.
Okay, so a little balance.
But they need a lefty. Yeah, exactly. They need a lefty to get on base, not Joey Gallo to hit solo home runs and strike out every other at bat. Alternating. The Yankees are 5 games back. Boston is sort of analogous to San Francisco in that we keep kind of waiting for one or both of the shoes to drop or fall, whatever the expression is. Tampa's right there. The Yankees are 8.5 back. I really think the National League, the East, no offense, but I don't see any of those teams going very far in the playoffs without getting very hot or getting a very good player. The Mets are 7 games over. After that, the Phillies are 500, and then everyone else is below. The West is loaded. Arguably the 3 best teams. Sorry, my dog just jumped on where I have my camera, and that's why it moved. Arguably the 3 best teams, and arguably what most believe to be the 3 most active teams coming up. The Padres have shown that they're going to do whatever they can. The Giants are kind of, in my opinion, like, we're in first, and we have the best record in baseball. The Dodgers, Trevor Bauer, who, if the allegations are true, deserves to rot in jail. If not, we'll see what happens. There were reports that players on the team don't want him back. Who knows? That's from a reporter. But as far as the trade deadline goes, he really kind of put them in a horrible position. So people were talking about Scherzer, but what they're asking for a 37-year-old rental who's going to be an unrestricted free agent is far too much. The Dodgers need relievers. They've had so many injuries. Right now, Betts is on the Bellinger just came back. Betts was out. Muncy was out for paternity. Seager still hasn't come back. They've had their full complement of players. I mean, maybe 2 or 3 times, I think, maybe a little more. So, it's kind of wait and see with them. But I think the West, someone in the East is going to make a big deal. Atlanta has an excellent farm system, whereas the Mets and Phillies are not nearly as good. And then, like we said, the AL East is going to be the typical crapshoot.
So, quick question: who owns the Padres now? Whenever I was there, they were like the broke. They weren't A's broke, but they were. They didn't spend money at all. Like, where'd this money come from? Where they're signing all these $300 million contracts? Is there a new ownership group?
I'm pretty sure there is. Their owner is I know the GM is an awesome GM in AJ Preller. Peter Seidler, who this day and age there's so many billionaires. I don't know how he made his money, but I'm trying to find out right now.
Is Seidler is he like the?
He is the grandson of Walter O'Malley, former Dodgers owner.
What? O'Malley's all Dodger blue, bro. Oh, that's so traitorish. Oh,
This is old
I miss
school money with Slidell that goes back to baseball, and he is committed to beat the Dodgers, basically.
That is dirty.
I
Family
mean,
drama.
yeah, that's unacceptable. I figured it was like the NBA, where like insert billionaire from any country in the world buys a team and pays $100 million a year for a player. I really didn't know. I know their GM is outstanding. AJ Preller gets it done.
His equity fund last year topped $3 billion. So
okay, so
he must be big into GameStop.
in AMC.
Or family money.
Or we're gonna take them down. Then we'll own the Padres.
It certainly isn't family money, because I believe Walter O'Malley probably bought the Dodgers for $50,000 and sold them for like 150, 200 million when he sold them. So maybe it is family money that was put into AMC and or GameStop.
So one of the things that bothers me as a Braves fan, the tradable commodities they have are very close to Major League ready. So, I mean, Drew Waters, I expect, may be up before September. Wilson Contreras has been up. Christian Pache has been up and kind of floundered. So his value is really down. And then the young arms that have brought up have largely flopped. So right now, the trade value for the Braves are seamlessly low unless you want to move somebody that's on your MLB roster, even though you have a loaded minor league system. But you
got to think long term, in my opinion. Sorry to interrupt, but you're not winning a World Series without arguably the best player in the game. You got to build for next year. There's no rentals, none of that crap. I just couldn't see them doing it without that guy. Acuna is just phenomenal. Building for the future.
There is so many examples of people trading away future Hall of Famers. I mean, it goes back years. Jeff Bagwell was dealt from the Red Sox to the Astros at the trade deadline. Lou Brock, for many years, the stolen base last-minute trade deadline trade. I get a lot of knots in my stomach when I hear we traded our number 2 prospect for a 3-month renter player. Or on the other end, you trade Adam Rainwatt, who was in the minor leagues, that is still on the Cardinal rotation, for J.D. Drew, who spent 11 months in an Atlanta uniform. And
our worst as LA Dodger fan beats anyone. Fred Clare at the time, the general manager and VP, said he knew he was screwed when the LA media agreed with his trade because they needed a leadoff second baseman, and he traded Delano DeShields for Pedro Martinez. And we all know what Pedro did after that. And we're all just speechless. And also another guy was Konerko. We gave Konerko away for nothing, and he had arguably a Hall of Fame career. So those two were pretty awesome.
Yeah. If you're the Braves, you're not good enough to win it all. So why would you risk any prospects, sending them anywhere? Just be patient and
win
it was an injury year. Let's just hold off. Let's see what it looks like next year, and just you don't have making the playoffs and losing the first round is not if your goal is to win it all. Then that's not acceptable. Now, if you're the,
unless you're Randall's fantasy team.
If you're the Detroit Lions or Randall in fantasy, you just want to make the playoffs every year so you can brag about that. Then that's one thing. But if your goal is to win it all, then getting bounced in the first round is not worth trading up your prospects.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on. Again, this is a special Wednesday night edition of 3R's Sports. Thanks to Investment on my support. August 17th from Davis Kessler Davis. Address Cherokee Boulevard. What's that number? Does anybody know?
433.
433 Cherokee Boulevard. We will be live until Robbie or Rodgers goes down. And I will begin working on our setup this weekend for that.
We can get food and drinks and everything. We'll be drinking, but we can have food and drinks for everyone. Bystanders come watch live.
And we'll live call-in number. Guys, how many winners in our league you think will actually call in and say what their chances are of winning the league?
Probably too many.
Wait, how many winners? We only have 7?
Yeah, but I mean, how many people will think they're going to win? Like everyone going to call in. You ain't got no chance unless you draft this thing, Rod.
My consumption is my consumption. I'm not trying to compare wiener sizes, but I have the same problems with alcohol that many others do, and I've seemed to have done okay throughout the season. One thing about Rob is I think he cares more, is my personal opinion, or as much about everyone having a good time and having a fun league than really winning it, because we all know that a-hole doesn't need the money. No. It's just about clout, and he loves talking trash, whether he wins or loses. So what's the difference?
I assure you, I want to win more than I care about you having a good time.
He's the only guy that's ever been 4-7.
I question that.
And had a plan to win the league and win 8 in a row after that.
I mean, he's 4-7 and still talking ish. It doesn't matter. I actually, in a sick way, respect that. And that's all I'll give Rob compliments for.
You never know when you're going to make a run.
I'm pretty sure I'm not going to make
You sound like a Tennessee football fan.
Good segue.
Tennessee you are.
So we know we have NLAs in college football. We know for years illegal recruiting has happened. The number one player in America, defensive lineman Walter Nolens of IMG Academy, never played a game at IMG, actually was out west at St. Benedict's. Strangely,
that's in Memphis. That's not west. Yeah. Respectfully.
Out west Tennessee. I don't count.
Hey, we're a national show, bro. Come on.
Wait, West Tennessee. Thank you.
And for people on the West Coast, Memphis is actually in Tennessee.
Yes.
You get credit for it, but yes, it's actually in Tennessee.
We're currently trying to trade Arkansas Little Rock for Memphis, but that's another story.
My buddy Aaron thought Memphis was a state for 6 years when I knew him. I was like, wait, what?
Hey, when y'all are on the West Coast, did everybody think y'all lived in Nashville? Because everything – I said I was from Tennessee. People assumed I was from Nashville.
I mean, we kind of only knew 2 states for a fact that Rob alludes towards that were in Tennessee. I didn't know about Chattanooga for most of my life, and I consider myself fairly geographically versed, if you will. But Memphis, obviously I knew Memphis, but I didn't want to believe it was in Tennessee. And really, it's kind of not. It's in the bottom corner. I mean, so is Chattanooga on the right side of the east side of the state.
We're on the cool corner.
And Memphis is way cooler than the rest of the state. Yeah,
I'll take Jordan, Alabama over Arkansas any day.
Mississippi has a lot of casinos.
Yeah, well, we got some casinos in the north side.
I was there this last weekend.
Yeah, we all know
that. Hey, yeah, that's an off-the-record conversation, though.
Yeah. So Walter Nolens, the number one player at ESPN recruiting, leaves IMG. His family all of a sudden lands in Powell, Tennessee, 11 miles from Neyland Stadium.
A public school.
11 miles from Neyland Stadium. He had been offered very early on. Nolens now appears to be a Tennessee lean. Do you buy ever that suddenly, you could have 2 amazing sons play basketball and a coach would give you an assistant coaching job so your sons would come play at their school, or that families get arranged for them, or it's not a coincidence, guys. What do you think the chances now Mr. Nolens ends up in Orange are, Robbie?
So this is Josh Heupel's moment, I think. You've got families moving, you've got coaching staffs, You've seen the blueprint with a certain program out west basketball team. You're going against UF, UM, Bama, UGA, and then UT's the fifth. Those are the power hitters. I mean, maybe not Michigan, but Florida, Bama, Georgia. If Heupel can land this kid, then okay, then some momentum starts building, and maybe Heupel can do this level. I have been, and I am as skeptical as anybody.
We've out recruited Louisville, Georgia Tech. Any player we wanted from schools like that, we've gotten.
Yeah,
But
the fact that he moved here,
anybody.
And a defensive lineman, and that's obviously we all know how huge they are, both figuratively and literally. This would be, I think, the first building block in Heupel's feather in the hat, I guess. And before I pass the torch to Raj, I just want to say also Rick Barnes just scored a 7-foot center from Knox Catholic, which puts their recruiting class to number 2. And so watch out, more talent on Rocky Top basketball. And hopefully this guy brings more talent on Rocky Top football.
Hey, talent has never been the problem in Tennessee, in my opinion, at least in basketball. It's really weird. The kid went from Olive Branch High School in Mississippi to IMG but never played a game, and then goes to Powell, a public school. The other thing is how outspoken his dad is. Oh, for the record, his high school in Memphis, St. Benedict's. Oh, sorry, he went to Memphis as well. I forgot that, right? Okay. Well, I thought he was coached by Marlon Walls or a former Tennessee Volunteer, if I'm not mistaken. It's just a very odd progression, and his dad is so outspoken in the media. I know we have that coach joke and whatnot, but the Mobley's dad doesn't say a word, and his dad's speaks for his kid. It seems like, Nolens number 1 on ESPN, which no offense, but he's number 3 in 247, which makes no difference. He's a monster. He's amazing. He moved to Powell, Tennessee. I've been to Powell, Tennessee many times. Whatever it is, if he doesn't go to Tennessee, I'd be shocked. I mean, he's not even going to Farragut or Alcoa or Merle, these power programs in Tennessee, or some of those private schools that are super nice. Some in Chattanooga, Macaulay, Baylor. He's going to Powell, which is so odd.
I fully expected him to enroll at Maryville or Knox Christian.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I fully expected that.
Powerhouse programs. His dad said that Coach G, which I presume is Ronnie Garner, right? The defensive line coach, who's got 30 years plus in the SEC, and most recently was at Auburn. I think he had 7 first-round draft picks throughout his tenure, and 10 dudes drafted from Auburn or something like that. Don't quote me on either of those. But obviously he knows his stuff, and he knows how to recruit. And Auburn's defensive line was never the problem over the last 10 years. It was other things, aside from Cam Newton, definitely offensively. I don't know what the deal is, but I'd be very surprised if he didn't end up at Tennessee. But again, Tennessee landing 5 stars is not that big of a deal. Then again, for a brand new coach in a rebuilding program and a coach like Heupel, it would be awesome for Tennessee. This kid is a difference maker.
I think it's beating out Alabama and Georgia. That's the big if you can go head to head and beat them, that's what I'm impressed with.
They've done that before, dude, many times. Most of the guys that transferred to Oklahoma or wherever, some of them like Wanya, right? Didn't they beat out those 2 schools for Wanya?
Yeah,
and he went.
We don't have a
hey.
But that was back when allegedly we had McDonald's bags with cash. Now we're doing it all legit.
Of course.
And it's just
my apologies.
Yeah, come on.
Mr. Nolan, the new vice president of Pilot Incorporated. So
exactly. I saw him advertising.
Yeah,
already.
That guy's not facing re-indictment, so he's good to go.
Yeah, he got right. So I think that wraps that one up. Let's we're gonna say something else, but I don't want to end up in an NCAA case myself. So let's just move on to the Olympics. Are either one of you watching the Olympics? Have you seen anything? I know it's my level of interest in the Olympics, unfortunately. I know whatever her name
Simone
is thrown from the individual contest. I know the young American Asian tennis star was been beat. I watched about 3 minutes of 3-on-3 basketball and thought, good God, what went on? This is driving me crazy. At least make them take the ball back, not half court. I've watched 5 minutes of a sport. I wasn't sure what it was, but I knew eventually we were going to throw some things and shoot some stuff. That's about it. I just feel like the Olympics doesn't have the audience it used to. Robbie, do you care? I mean, we all care for the U.S., but is there something you're just looking absolutely forward to in the Olympics?
So a few things here. One, and I hate to say this because I hate a network to have so much power, but doesn't it start to feel weird that sports aren't on ESPN?
Yeah, it does.
And so that, and then, but I think the more troubling thing for me, and you guys know, and I think most people that watch us know my views about COVID and the precautions we should take and how we should take it serious. It to me personally, with the empty fans or the empty stadiums, the precaution, what these people are going through, it just doesn't feel right to me. Like the Olympics just doesn't feel like it's time. And so, like, I think could you already pushed it back from 2020 to 21. Could they have pushed it back to 2022? I don't know the legit. I know, and I feel bad for Japan because they're going to lose about $20 billion on this thing. And these stadiums they built, and then that's sad. Any kind of money to be lost like that, and these kids or athletes or however you want to categorize them, both kids and athletes that go there and without families and without support and to win the medals they do win, whatever country, it just feels awkward to me. So I haven't been able to watch it like with the time change and just the lack of and it's not just American athletes. Like when Usain Bolt was there, I mean, like to me, track and field, the 100-meter dash is the Summer Olympic sport. Like that's the one you want to go see. And I don't know anyone that's running it, and I don't know if it's lack of advertisement, but it's just so to me, I've watched some, but yeah, it's been more. Hey, it's maybe been on at a bar and I've looked on the TV. I've not turned my home TV onto the Olympics yet.
I have just to see what 3-on-3 hoop was. I don't know if Randall's signing to me or like a Top Gun airplane about to get off or something, or sorry, a jet.
Randall, you're out.
Technical problems and from Randall's studio.
Randall, just put it on mic unless you're speaking. Or just leave.
There you go. Even though he finally looks good after shaving that beard, or at least looks better. Yeah, the 3-on-3 thing is very interesting. They do kind of have to take it back to the 3-point line, but the guys that played 3-on-3, like Latvia and other countries, they played 3-on-3 together for the entire year. America throws together dudes that have never made it in the NBA. Robbie Hummel from Purdue, a few other dudes. They didn't even make the Olympics. It was bad pickup basketball. The only thing I saw was Japan against Belgium, I think, or not Belgium, somebody else. They were expected to lose to big time, and they had a dude, Ira Brown, that I guess must have been born in Japan. But Japanese players, they were huge underdogs, and they won like in quote overtime. I think you played at 18. It was kind of fun to watch, but only because it was an underdog issue. I think most of us like Team USA basketball. However, those of us over 30, 35 remember the 1992 Dream Team, and ever since then, the standard's set. We know we have the best players in the world, but they don't play for the Olympics anymore, or for the Olympic team, rather. And this Team USA team, arguably 3 of their best players, came off the NBA Finals last week. Not to mention a short offseason after a COVID season last year. So Devin Booker, the second best shooter on the team to Kevin Durant. Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday. Those dudes just played like another 50 games after 82 or whatever. Then they add, Draymond. What year is this? JaVale McGee, and then Keldon Johnson from San Antonio. And some suspected that Keldon Johnson was added over Trae Young, which would be beyond amazing. Popovich is a miracle worker, but he can only do so much. I agree with you guys. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, my view is that I just feel like these games shouldn't be played. What do you guys think? Should they be played? Should they be postponed?
Till when?
I was thinking until next year and see how it goes then. That would be my suggestion. What do you guys think?
The rest of the world's not opened up like America is. And I mean, you see it in the games to me.
Yeah.
I was really kind of shocked by how limited the seating was at the Olympic Games. So,
well, you look at the streets in Tokyo; they're close. I mean, so we have some friends that live in Japan, and they're very much for the greater good, whereas America's not. There's no other way to say it. We're not, and so they all are. I mean, and who knows who ends up with the best strategy? We seem to be roller coasting it, but it just seems wrong to me that not wrong. That wrong's a bad word. It just seems awkward that they're playing these international games in front of empty stadiums and no one's there.
I'm not.
And sorry, go ahead,
really
Randall.
Look forward to the boxing. Every Olympics, it's the one sport. Like when the Olympics were in Atlanta, I felt like to be at the Olympics, I needed to see Olympic boxing and Olympic track and field. So I went to those 2 sports. I have zero excitement for anything coming up in this Olympics. And I don't know if it's COVID or the fact that I'm so football starved, Robbie, that I'm just forgetting everything else. So I definitely have no excitement for the Olympics.
I didn't think about that. We have been a year without going to sporting events here. That could be something to it. But I'm with you. I love. My Olympics is pretty much standard to track and field. The sprinters, like, they fascinate me. And even the gymnastics. I mean, it's just amazing what they can do. But yeah, I just haven't had an interest at all.
None.
When it comes to the Olympics, number one, I agree with Robbie. Tokyo built amazing facilities. They were ready. It wasn't like Sochi in Russia for the Winter Olympics. And for whatever reason, and bold move, they say Olympics 2020 everywhere, even though it's not 2020. I don't know as to the attendance. Recently, America's always last when it comes to this, thanks to morons on a percentage of morons, rather. But recently, finally in America, even the vaccinated are suggested in most areas, including Hamilton County, where we all live, to wear masks indoor. So I'm not
Yep.
really sure. I'll be honest. I'm ignorant to the fact of why the Tokyo attendance has been low. But yeah,
No, they banned this. They banned people.
But I mean, there's still been a lot of people in the events. I saw some swimming events. I saw skateboarding. There's still been people there, and maybe they're just family or what have you. And I agree with you. Then again, one thing Japan doesn't lack is the ability to generate money. But yeah, I mean, this was a Tokyo as a staging point.
Well, the one thing I would like to see. So I think it was Brisbane in 2032. Brisbane went. They got the Olympics uncontested. I would like to see the Olympics at least come back to Tokyo in the near future, post-COVID, and let them get value for these stadiums they built, and let them experience what the Olympics is like.
Sorry, go ahead.
Our buddy Chain said he'd been watching the golf, and that's it.
How long has that been an Olympic sport?
Yeah, I mean, it's really got no reference for me, but yeah, I would probably, if I'd known that they were playing golf, I'd probably watched a little of it.
As Americans, we have high standards when it comes to Olympic success, when it comes to pride. A lot of people only look at medal count and need a superstar like Michael Phelps, Mark Spitz going back, whoever it may be. And a lot of chips were placed on, from saying roulette, and it didn't land on Simone Biles. And you can have your own perspective as to the issue of mental health. I've heard people say that she was the leader and she wasn't doing well, and she bowed out and let down the rest of her team. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think it was an issue. Who's to dispute anyone's mental health, let alone someone like that on that stage? I support her, but there were a lot of chips placed on her. There was no American 100-meter, track star. There wasn't a outstanding volleyball team or swimmer. She was pretty much it as far as known names when it came to the Olympics this year. And that maybe is also a product of COVID, among other things. And I know, Rob, I want to hear what you're about to say, but when it comes to pretty much everything, the U.S. is kind of been very I wouldn't say disappointing, but not exactly what any of us expected when it comes to athlete or team, etc. But yes, there's no one to market now. Don't know half these people, 90% of these people.
Yeah, and Randall, I don't know if we're going to talk about Simone Biles on a later show. I don't want to jump the gun. We may talk about it later. But I'm happy to give my 2 cents now because I think it's important, but I'll defer to you as the host to what
Go
you
ahead. I want you to get your sense.
It's a 2-hour conversation, but you're right.
So the people that criticize her are, I can't be any more clear, morons. This is not a I'm Tom Brady playing with a torn MCL playing quarterback. This is a person who is jumping up in the air, doing backflips, they can't grasp where I'm going to land. It is extremely dangerous. It is deadly. And oh my gosh, could you imagine if there was a fatality for her on the Olympic stage? Absolutely. You check yourself out and do not give me this, you have to compete for your country. No, you train for your country. You train every single day for your country. You compete for yourself. Like the waking up at 5 a.m., that's for your country. Going up at 8 p.m., that's for your country. You're there to win for your country and for yourself. But to say, oh my God, she copped out or something like that, no. Again, moronic. I can't be more clear.
I heard the millennial argument from old people. It's millennials. They just give up. No,
Yeah,
slightly different.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. A guy behind a keyboard is like, oh, I would have done better. Are you kidding me? The reason why you're a guy behind the keyboard is because you can't do better. Like, you just can't. Like, do something. Like imagine jumping up, doing a triple, whatever it is, and landing on your feet. We would all be dead. And to say and to say I can't, I don't have that. I don't have that in me. I can't do this. Then yes, absolutely. Take care of yourself before any other. Like, she's got gold medals. She's got everything. But good God, could you imagine being paralyzed or dead because you wanted to prove someone else wrong? No, take care of yourself. You've done enough for the country, and you've made everyone proud.
And the courage it took real quick
Yes.
for her to come out and do that. Wow.
I don't know if I agree with the new morality in the U.S. or around the world a lot. Some things I vehemently disagree on, but the fact that we finally have focus on mental health in this country and how important that is as a recovering addict, which I've never put any bow of shame on. Anyone who doesn't think that someone with a mental block or a mental health issue is not as serious as any other form, just know we lose 17 veterans a day to suicide. You know, mental health is a serious issue, and we've seen it at sports at the highest level. If you've never seen the movie Fear Strikes Out, the Jimmy Pearsall story, basically in the 50s, this guy goes nuts on the field trying to play for others. The kid, and I can't remember his name, Rod, you'll know it, the Raiders center that just disappeared the night before the Super Bowl.
Barrett Robbins.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe it was drugs, maybe it wasn't. But one thing we should have in 2021 in this country is at least some sympathy or understanding of mental health issue. And if Simone Biles walked away from work, you wasn't there at 3:00 in the morning. Inky Johnson says it so well when he says she's never cheated the system. To be there, this young lady never cheated. She didn't miss workouts. She didn't skip, days that she didn't want to. The only thing I can say, Robbie, is that's well put. I didn't think you were going there, but once you did, it actually gave me goosebumps to hear somebody actually defend her, and I appreciate that.
Well, yeah, and again, an Olympic, they trained 4 years. And for her to, again, she's the greatest of all time. If she can't handle this pressure, then let's step back and say, hey, people that aren't that great, what pressure are they under?
Absolutely.
And let's just not be so fans like, oh, I wouldn't miss that 50-yard field goal. No, you wouldn't, because you can't kick it. Like, just everyone chill out and let's just all take a step down and let's just all appreciate all these people's greatness.
How does this? Sorry, real quick. How does this affect anyone, let alone let someone down?
Yeah.
It's the Olympics.
Shane said,
have some perspective.
I don't know why it's such an issue. People get injured or sick, whatever, all the time. Leave it and leave the game. Not sure why it's even a story. She made a call. No one else could have made a call. That's a good point. She was the only one in that situation.
And that's a courage.
And
courage.
Brandon, it's not. It shouldn't be an issue. It's an issue because media has made it an issue, and then we've just touched base on it, just hopefully to say how dumb they are about talking about it and making it an issue about. And that's yes, I guess that's what I'm just trying to do. Is like stop talking about it, stop being morons.
Of course, we want to plug Stretch the Chains with Brendan Chains. I guess we got to get organized, Robbie, since you're going to be part of that cast, and get it together. And also, friend of the show, Jeff Miller and Arden Scargans are going to be having I had a pool table once. Shane said he had a pool table once. He knows pressure, I guess.
Hey, wait, you guys are having a new show and you cut out the brown guy?
Hey, just for reference, Chain has played me probably 80 times in pool and has never won.
The brown guy is not cut out. You just don't know about it yet.
Yeah, that's called cut out. Thanks a bunch, dudes.
Also, on Sundays, where I think Rods would want to be, Geoff Miller and Arden Scroggins are going to do some DFS. I'm not part of either show. So we've got new shows coming. And as Chain says, y'all are spinning a web of lies, Robbie. Rod, see, Chain said you're welcome.
He said Robbie. I don't disagree with him. Rarely, let alone here.
Well, I want to move ahead a little bit, and it's going to be a visual opening or an audio opening to this segment.
I'm so excited about this one.
From 32 yards, that kick is no good. Tennessee wins.
In 1998, Tennessee beats Florida. Young Randall charges the floor of the stadium, only to be meet. Young Randall is about 32 at the time, or 31. Jumps onto the field, has a security guard grab him by the back because he's the slowest, fattest guy jumping the rail, saying,
Can't be that one.
Sir, do you really think you should be going out there with the kids? I then crawl back up on the side of the stadium, and I watch the students demolish the field goal upright.
Wise security
Forever.
guard sounds like Rudy, the wise
Forever.
field janitor.
My 1998 Tennessee beats Florida missed kick is a security card saying, Sir, do you really think you are to be out there with those kids? So with that, we open up our favorite 10 moments of the sports history. So I don't know how we are to do this. Do one of you want to go first, or does
I say let Raj go first because some of mine, Randall, may echo yours.
All right. So Raj, fire us up. What this is we debated it, but I think Raj was at every one of them that he's going to bring up. I wasn't at every one of them. One of them, I was 8-year-old, so it was kind of hard for me to be. But I have a vivid memory of it. It was the biggest story in America, and I'll talk about it when I get there. But Raj, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, so I thought it was top 5, and I added a few events, and I did ones that I attended. Number 1 for me was the Bush Push in South Bend. That was before the expansion of the stadium. You felt like you were right in the field. That was a crazy game. Simultaneously, my number 3, or congruently rather, is even though we lost, I was at Texas USC and in the end zone when USC lost contain, and there was a 4th down helmet grab. I can't even think of what the penalty was. It was obviously a personal foul.
But not even being a USC or Texas fan, that was a great football game. That
was one of my top 10 that I wasn't at. So I did the top 5 I was at too. That was my top 10 I wasn't at.
Try being there.
So that's there.
I contend to this day the better team did not win, but the best player on the field did win. USC made a couple errors. They had a lot of injuries, blah, 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 blah. Most
Reggie
credit to
Bush
Texas.
lateral.
I mean, and he had done that in high school, but he did this to Brad Walker, who was a 3rd-string tight end, and that's a touchdown. I mean, there was one dude back there, and one dude has never stopped Reggie Bush. I can go on and on for that game. It drives me nuts. But I was there, so I put it at 3. Number 2 for me was the 2010 NBA Finals, Game 6 against the Celtics. The Lakers were down. It was kind of an ugly game. They won 89-67, but it pushed to 7, and they won 7 after losing to the Celtics in 7 prior, which, in my opinion, they were the better team then too. That was pretty awesome. My number 4 was the Rose Bowl against Penn State with Sam Darnold. Not a great team, but the game was amazing. It was like a 51-48 final based on a kick from USC at the buzzer. Not basketball, but when the clock expired. Number 5 is I was fortunate enough to be at the 1992, I think, Magic retirement game. At halftime,
wow.
everybody spoke. Yeah. So that year, my dad was a physician at Kaiser in LA, and they split tickets with 6 doctors. And my dad went a bunch of times, but my mom was like, I want to see Magic. Sorry, I shouldn't do the Indian accent, but my mom and I went to that game.
Better you doing it than me.
Yeah, well, you do it. It's racist, you ass. I'm just kidding. That was a pretty cool game. If I were going to go top 10 all time, as a Dodger fan, Kirk Gibson in 1988. I mean, you can't beat that.
That
in
game
my
cost
opinion,
$100. I still hate him.
For many baseball fans, I would say a ton born after 1970. That was the greatest moment in baseball history, and aided by the calls by Vin Scully and Jack. What's his name? Homeboy's dad. Who's the dude
Jack
that does
Buck.
all the? Yes, thank you, Jack Buck. Sorry, I'm blanking. Another one would be for me in 1983, the Raiders. It's kind of the first time. I was only 7, but I remember watching the Raiders. They were in LA, and Marcus Allen had a 72-yard touchdown run where he went left, reverse field, and then cut up the middle for 72 yards, and the Raiders won 38-9. That was pretty rad.
And the Raiders were an underdog going into that game. The Redskins had won the Super Bowl, I believe, the year prior.
They were the underdog.
The Raiders had finished 9-7, got in the playoffs last minute. No one thought they had a chance, and just walked the dog in the playoffs.
I could argue that Super Bowl win, and they were the first wild card to the Super Bowl. I think it was 1980 against Philly. Al Davis always believed in these outcasts and veterans. He believed that for the next 15 years, and they were pretty bad. But yeah, I mean, those are the two that come to the top of my head. Again, I was thinking games that we attended. I have a bunch of other moments, but they're very LA-centric and probably don't mean much to anybody else outside of that area. So I'd like to hear what you guys have.
Mine's going to be very Vols and Atlanta-centric. So, Robbie, you want to go or you want me to go?
I'll go get a beer then.
All right.
Well, don't get a beer while I'm talking.
I mean, I can still listen, but you guys are both going to say the same thing. So,
I've got some shockers coming up for you.
No, I think I've got.
I'm still listening.
Okay, so my top 5 sporting events, and so I went live, and then I've got one. I've got 5 live events. My top 5 live events, and then a one holy shit event.
Okay.
Sorry if I got a SEC or FCC.
Hey, ever since the CBS thing, I don't give a damn anymore. Get you some.
So my number 1 sporting event that I've been to was the number 2 Vols at number 1 Memphis. Just the atmosphere and the rivalry and like 2 schools that hate each other and we were at the bar and Bruce Pearl jumped up on a table and said, "We're gonna beat their bleep." And bleep, I think it was.
That was awesome.
And they went out there and did it. That was in the atmosphere, like St. Antunica limo into Memphis, and just what Memphis is. And if you guys haven't been to Memphis, or our viewers haven't been to Memphis, it's a underrated, fantastic city. Great food. It's a party town.
I once saw a guy get beat with a stop sign on Beale Street, so you can see
it's also dangerous. It's also dangerous.
Nah, Beale Street is like Bourbon. I mean, those are the suckiest parts
you will
of the
get
town.
beat with a stop sign.
Yeah. Don't be stupid. You won't get.
Those are the lamest parts of the town, in my opinion. Like that's just where dumb drunk tourists go.
So number 2 for me, and this is a great category, Randall. I'm impressed that you did this one. And so number 2 to me, although it wasn't a championship, it was. So in 2003, the Titans played Pittsburgh in Nashville in the playoffs, and it was cold, and we were all drunk, and it was so we sit on in 117. The action was on the other side of the field.
Great scene.
And so overtime, Titans kick the field goal. It's good. Fireworks go off. Whoa, wait. No. Timeout. So kick it again. Kick it. Miss it. No. Timeout again. So third kick, boom. He hits it through the uprights. Winner, going to the AFC Championship. We ultimately lost. I believe that would have been the Oakland year, I think. 2003, we lost to Oakland.
I was at that game, the AFC Championship in Oakland. That was sweet. Hey, but no, beating the Steelers back then, let alone for a fairly new franchise, was amazing. In the playoffs,
Yeah.
I mean, that's like boom.
So number 3 is when the Vols beat the – so what didn't get in here was – and it was tough for me – was 2 straight years the Vols beat the Gators back-to-back basketball championship teams in Thompson Bowling. They did not make the cut, but by a slim margin. So number 3 for me –
Dane Bradshaw told Florida, you don't get rings by not winning in Knoxville, and then they went and won a national championship.
Yeah. So number 3 was the Vols beating Florida in 2004, I believe. That was when Will Hoyt missed the extra point.
Yeah.
Then they onside kicked her. They fumbled the kickoff, and then he got the kick.
That was the phantom the cornerback. The
Yes.
Vols cornerback punched the Florida receiver. The Florida receiver retaliated, and they threw 15 yards on the Florida guy.
Oh, yeah.
He got the ball back.
Always a second dude.
That was amazing. I was in the stadium. I've never seen kneeling that loud.
The only time I've ever sat in Section C was for that game, which is at the 50-yard line.
Number 4 is a great game and a great start of the season with a horrific ending. And I think you know where I'm going with this. It is the UGA Hail Mary and the Tennessee Hail Mary back-to-back.
Was it the Pig game? Is that the Pig game where what's his name? The receiver named Pig was on that team?
No, that was Juwan Jennings.
The Pig game.
Oh, okay,
Gotcha. Tennessee was going to beat Florida or beat Georgia,
and they were in the Grays. I was there.
And Pig run a reverse and fumbled the ball out of the back of the end zone and cost Tennessee the game.
He pulled a Derek Carr.
This game was so magical because so many Georgia fans left the stadium thinking they had won. And then we got outside the stadium like, why are you guys happy? Like, you guys lost. Like, it was a Hail Mary after Hail Mary, Juwan Jennings. And that was when Butch Jones almost collapsed on the sidelines because he was like, I'm way out of my league. Oh, you got it?
Butch Jones and Peyton in the end zone before that game.
That's awesome.
Can you Photoshop Butch Jones out of that picture?
I'm trying really hard.
And so number 5 on my list, I just can't knock it out of the top 5 events I've been to in my life. The Battle at Bristol. I just had such a great time. It wasn't a great game, but I had such a great time there. Like I loved it, and it's what got me. Yes, it was just I got interested in NASCAR. I was kind of interested in NASCAR. I saw the track, the tailgating, the RVs. It was. They should do it every year. It was a fantastic event.
And honestly, Robbie, we knew each other, but that was really the birth of our friendship.
Yeah,
was that weekend. We spent all weekend together tailgating, and it was really.
Yeah,
I remember the tailgating more than the football game.
Oh yeah. Well, and then in my honorable mention, my holy shit moment of this is I wasn't there, but my on TV thing was.
Don't say the Tuck game.
No, well that was just oh my gosh, the refs blew it. But the oh my god game was Tua to Smith to beat Georgia in the championship game. That pass just lefty right out the gate, just perfect.
I was going to ask, are there others that come to your mind that you weren't at? Because that, you and I were selfishly, or at least self-centeredly, which is a shocker, thinking about stuff we've been to. But what else comes to mind? I mean, SEC related, anything.
The Texas USC game obviously comes to mind. The Kick 6 game comes to mind. Let's see what
I tell you one that comes to mind for me, and it's not. I'm not bashing the Dodgers either. Reggie Jackson's 3 home runs in the World Series in 1977.
Now you're dating yourself, but yeah, he became Mr. October after that game.
Yeah.
I started the list. I started my list with I was at a walk-off. I've only been to one walk-off home run game ever, and it was a Reds game. And I was like, that was fantastic. It was a 3-run walk-off. It's like that. Those things are exciting. You start thinking about, and then
I was at a World Series walk-off, but it was in the 18th inning. We had to conserve beers, and the Dodgers blew the series against a better Red Sox team, so I didn't include it. But Muncy hit a homer in the 18th, and they won the game. And Dodger Stadium was crazy.
Any of the right games or the field goals between the Hurricanes and FSU, those were all great. And then, go ahead.
I bricked one. I'm sorry. Last year, I got to go to Game 5 at the World Series in Texas. There were 11,000 fans allowed. Went with 3 of my buddies. A buddy of mine works for the Dodgers. It was amazing because they won the game. Selfishly, we thought that I was basically in transit during Game 4 that the Dodgers would win it in Game 5. But the stadium was all Dodger fans, really. And I was fortunate enough to go to the World Series against Houston and Boston. And Game 2, we were able to go to Fenway, thanks to, he probably doesn't want me to say his name because he may get in trouble, but a buddy of mine that works for the Dodgers. But, the one game we won, aside from Game 1 against Houston, those cheating bastards, was that Game 5 against Tampa. And to be at the World Series again was pretty rad.
When I was a younger kid, so my mom's from Chicago, she huge Michael Jordan fan. So in the early 90s, we'd always go down to Atlanta to watch the second round. The Hawks were always a 4th to 5 seed. We'd always watch Jordan beat the Hawks, and I was always a Hawks fan to be kind of against my mom. And I was just like, my life could have been so much better if I was a Jordan fan.
She's the only Republican in your family, right? Side note, real quick to the Bush push. The same night that game happened and I was young and we had a good time, the White Sox won the World Series and we were in Chicago. So I think that was an interesting night.
So I changed my list a little bit. One thing I watched on pay-per-view is still on the list because it changed my life, I think, and I'll get to it. Starting at number 10, at the Indianapolis 500, setting in the target behind the target pits. I was there with the Target family, and I saw Juan Pablo Montoya win the Indy 500. That's forever on my list and will forever be there.
Rad.
Number 9, closed circuit TV. I was 8, almost 9 years old. It was the biggest story in the world. It was the most racially charged situation I've ever been in. People hated Muhammad Ali. And I went into this movie theater with my uncle, and all night we were like, we want to be here to watch this end get his thing. George Foreman's going to beat this end. George Foreman gets knocked out by Muhammad Ali to win the world championship again. I cannot tell you. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm 9 years old up watching this.
And they showed it in a movie theater?
Yes, that was how you saw.
Oh, yeah.
That was like
1975,
74, something
74,
like that?
Yes.
God damn, you're old.
I am
shit.
old. Number 8.
That shit was black and white when I saw it.
Hey, Ali, no one will know how hated Ali. And I was just a kid. I knew I loved him because he was the heavyweight champ.
And he was outspoken and intelligent and,
but I was
didn't give a crap what people thought.
I told my uncle, I said, I'm scared. He would tell me, he said, don't get up and cheer in this movie theater in Dayton, Tennessee, because Ali was so hated that my uncle was afraid if I got up and cheered that people would like turn on me.
Still,
Why was that event in Zaire, dude? That's one thing I have never known. I know it had like 70,000 people or something like that.
It was an Ali thing.
I figured, but at the same token, wasn't Foreman the champion?
Yes.
Still to this day, no one was feared as much as Ali, and then now as praised as much as Ali. Like the way he transpired generations, and to say the same message, but how culture has changed now.
We don't use this forum for politics, but I'm going to tell you that being a Caucasian in the South that grew up a sports fan, this is really what has changed. Being a sports fan made me look at people a lot different. It gave me an education very young that those people, those people are saying those things are just wrong. That's just another human being. And it has really been a steadfast part of my life that if you use that word in a sporting event, it shows your ignorance, nothing more.
Devil's advocate to Ali, though, real quick.
So we don't have to wear masks anymore.
That's it.
Hey, devil's advocate to Ali, real quick. Do you think he could have been viewed differently in terms of his legacy if he didn't more or less pass away as a martyr, in the sense that he had Parkinson's and it was terrible, and he still made these courageous appearances and he lit the torch? It doesn't affect my perception of him, but I just wonder if anybody else thinks so.
Muhammad Ali loved America. Go look at his fights.
Oh, I agree.
He had an American flag, and he walked into the ring with him. He fought in the Olympics and won a gold medal and threw it away because he got home and he discovered that having a gold medal made him no more than he was before he left. He was still viewed the same when he returned. Ali's legacy is pretty untouched in my head. Go ahead, Robbie. Sorry.
Oh, I was saying, I think, and I may be wrong, Raj, but I think you're saying, like, could he have, I guess you're asking, could he have done more?
I'm probably thinking he could have done less, because most people that become blowhards and attempt to remain in the spotlight, it's probably my cynical point of view. I think everyone loved Ali when he was about to pass away, but what Randall's talking about, not everyone loved Ali back then when he had more courage than anyone else. More courage than anyone else. And he loves America because it's the only country where you have the freedom to probably do and say what he did, in the sense that, well, that's before my time, so I won't expand on that. But, yeah, I mean, he was not the most loved person back in the day when he was great. And he passed away an extremely adored person.
Yeah, no, he did not grand fame or grand fortune, but not fame, and not really as the advocate that he was way before boxing ended. And now it was just, once it was popular, I mean, they put him in jail for 3 years for speaking his mind.
And you'll see when I get to this theme will come back here in a little bit. So let me move on. Robbie, I was kind of surprised this didn't make your list. Chris Lofton, 35 foot over Kevin Durant to beat Texas at the buzzer. I was there. Place goes nuts. Still one of my favorite memories of all time. And it's aided that Durant has become Kevin Durant. It has become a part of what sports is. Go ahead.
So I was balancing that, and then I think it was the 2016 that beat the Joakim Noah, and they won. Vols beat the back-to-back Gators team 2 times in a row in Knoxville. So I was debating on that one, and then the Texas game, but I just couldn't find anything to kick it off of. But no, that was definitely in my mind.
Quick side note: Durant lost in the first round to USC in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
I think it was 6-11. Yeah, he couldn't beat Kevin Durant. I think Taj Gibson. That was a good USC team. They got robbed against North Carolina. But yeah, for Durant's greatness, he didn't exactly go mellow on the and that's a Carmelo reference on or
Oh God! Don't
name?
feed in.
Kemba.
Don't
Didn't go
feed
Kemba on
in.
the rest of the NCAA. Durant couldn't pull his team.
Roz, you're feeding into Dave Hicks's mantra of, oh yeah, Rick Barnes, let's get all this talent in. He can't win the postseason. Just, you know what? I'll take talent and I'll take good regular season over 1 month because I enjoy the whole season of basketball. So if we fail in the postseason, it's okay.
How sensitive we are, because if Rick Barnes wasn't the coach of that Texas team, perhaps I wouldn't hear what you just said.
Number 7. I was not there, but I cannot leave this off the list. 1992, worst to first. Sid Bream's dash to score in the NLCS to send the Braves to the World Series. Number 6.
That was the Barry Bonds year, right? That's when Barry
Yes.
Bonds.
They beat
when he was like 180 pounds. I hear about that all the time from my wife and father-in-law, and then I ask, what? Did they get a ring after that? Or how's Francisco Cabrera doing right now? Did he just pump my gas?
I was at this next one, 1985, 17-point underdog. Number 10, Tennessee beats number 2, Miami in the Sugar Bowl. Michael Irvin, Gino Torretta, the whole Canes nation had no interest in being there. Keith Jackson walks into the booth beforehand and looks at John Ward and asks him, do you think Tennessee can keep it interesting for a half? 35-7 later, maybe the best college football game ever.
Did Miami not want to be there, though, if they were number 2? Shouldn't they have been playing for the national championship?
No chance. Somebody had won earlier in the day that clinched it.
There you go. I mean,
2017, the Atlanta Falcons beat the Seattle Seahawks to go to the Super Bowl. Never been in a bigger party in the stadium. Never felt more. Have been to a Super Bowl, and it didn't feel like this game does. Wasn't at this next thing, but it meant a lot to me. And Robbie, you can speak for this too. It was such a relief for me for Peyton Manning to finally win a Super Bowl. The Colts beat the Bears. Peyton Manning gets his Super Bowl, and it feels like the weight of the world was off of his shoulders. 3 more to come after that.
Yeah, so I'm mixed on that because I love Peyton Manning as a volunteer, but he's a Colt, and I don't like it. And so this is one of those, like, just let's get it over with. Like, let's just do it. Like, all right, you won the Super Bowl, be the Colts and you the Vols, and like let me just get away from this. Let's go till next year. I did not feel comfortable with it, and like I love Peyton, but I hate the Colts, and like it's a bad situation. That's why I don't draft players in the AFC South.
Hey, no religious disrespect, but I call him Tennessee Jesus. And I've never seen more people go from Colts jerseys in one area to Bronco jerseys in one area. And I was like, what player could ever do that to a city? I was like, what the? That's the effect of Peyton. And then he's beloved by everyone, but in Tennessee, he is the second coming of God.
You should wait till you see Trump flags.
Yeah. Number 3. I was at this. The Atlanta Braves beat the Cleveland Indians to win the World Series.
Ah, sweet.
I remember that.
That's your number 3?
My number 3.
Okay, this should be good.
Number 2. Was that it? In the desert with a backup quarterback Tennessee wins for the first time since 1951 a national championship and beats Florida State in what was one of the worst freaking football games I've ever watched. But I
What
cried
year?
for about an hour straight.
98.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait, T. Martin was a backup quarterback?
No. Florida State
No.
was on their third
Wait,
quarterback.
who was it? What it
Oh.
was
Marcus Outson.
Outson. That's right.
Chris
What was the
Winkie had
final of that
broken his neck.
game? You were a grown man who cried. All right.
17,
I
14, 24, 21.
23-16, I believe was the
So
final.
you barely beat them with their third string quarterback.
Did not care at that point.
Hey,
Alcohol
title's a
flowed
title,
freely.
dude. I'm with you. Title's a title.
Number one. The greatest thing I've ever saw in sports. Hank Aaron hits his 715th home run live on national TV back in the day when we
Jesus.
only had 3 channels.
Against the Dodgers.
They would turn when NBC for a week, my family was watching it. Every time Aaron would come up to bat, they would go it live to the stadium to see if he was going to break the record. And you watched Aaron's at bat, and then they went back to regular programming.
It didn't happen back then, like you allude towards. That didn't happen back then.
Yeah, he hit 714 in Cincinnati, and they benched him basically, wanting him to hit 715.
At home against the Dodgers.
In a historic, one of the great movies yet to be made in sports is that movie, 715, and what it took for this man to withstand Jackie Robinson type assaults on his family and himself.
Absolutely.
But
many people did not
Yeah.
want him to break the record of different racial persuasions, if you will.
Moment is just stands up in my head.
On top of that, I didn't mean to cut you off, but when Gibson rounds second, he does this. When Aaron's rounding second, 2 dudes in
Georgia
bell
students.
bottoms. Yeah, they run, and it seems like they were bell bottoms in my mind. They run with him. Aside, almost like a Secret Service style. I mean, I'll never forget that. And that's an amazing moment. I didn't see it live because I wasn't born. But that's so cool.
I can still tell you who was pitching, who was
It was
on
a Dodger.
deck.
Who was the Dodger pitcher?
Why am I blanking?
My bad. I shouldn't have called you out. You're the host.
Dusty
My
Baker.
fault.
Dusty Baker was on deck, and Al Cowings was pitching.
Al Cowings. Nice.
So,
No, wait, is Al Cowings? Isn't he the OJ offensive lineman from USC?
I'm
Hold
getting this
on.
wrong. I want to get it right.
Nah, my friend the internet can help.
Hank Aaron, 715. It's Al Downing.
There you go, Al Down. Hey, I give you points for being that close.
I don't know, and I yes, Hank Aaron. Yes, that was awesome, and I don't want to get in the home run debate, but were any of you guys lucky enough to see Barry Bonds play baseball?
Please shut the up.
I saw Barry Bonds a lot.
I saw his entire career and his head size.
I've probably seen
size
Barry
pro
Bonds play 50
at age
times
35.
So
I've seen him a ton of times.
there is nothing more exciting that I saw in sports than when Barry Bonds was up to bat.
But
When he was in San Francisco, man, it was theatrics, and if he got a pitch, he nailed it, and he just jacked it out of the park.
It doesn't bother you that he obviously, his head size grew at age 35. His foot size grew at age 35. He was 180 pounds in Pittsburgh as a center fielder. He was like 250 in San Francisco. Great athlete nonetheless, but tied to so many HGH or whatever it was.
Of course it bothers me, but I mean,
that guy.
If you've seen him play, that was.
I saw him play before that. He didn't need to do it.
No,
but
he
did it.
Absolutely, he did. He was a Hall of Fame player before he did it. But after that, I mean, it was every pitch. it was gone. Like it was just a
Theatrics,
intense moment.
aesthetically, yes, I agree with you. I don't like the rationale that everybody did it. That fool did it more than anybody.
No, I
It
didn't
probably
say- I
started
didn't-
with
I didn't
Sosa
say
and
that.
McGuire, but yeah, I've got no respect for him, and it's probably because I don't like the Giants. But on top of that, I mean, Randall probably agrees with me. That guy can go straight to Siberia, if you ask me.
The thing that breaks my heart.
I get that, but when you watched him play, like that's all I'm saying. Like, you can hate someone, but when you watched a pitch delivered to him, if he swung, it was gone.
I mean, sorry, go ahead, Randall.
The guy I saw play was not the same guy, though. But I agree with you. I remember his 73 home run. 73,
Yeah.
And it was just like if it went over the plate, he was going to hit it out. But the guy I saw play, and I saw him play a lot, was closer to Ken Griffey Jr. in size and baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. But not as good as Griffey Jr.
So in my lifetime, and obviously I'm not as big of baseball guys as you are, but yeah, for me, the best player I've ever seen is Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah,
for me.
He pushes my list. I never saw Aaron live, but I've seen. I'm a big pitcher guy, and a lot of people hate him, but I've seen both Roger Clemens and Greg Maddux live, and those are the.
Well, you can't go Roger Clemens if you say no Barry Bonds, so it's got to be Greg Maddux.
Agreed. Maddux at like 45 was throwing his fastball in the low 80s, and he was still getting people out with all of his crazy placement, off speed. It didn't matter. Maddux is way up there for me.
Do you? Before we get off this subject, do you know one thing that almost it was tough for me to leave off the list, and it had a huge effect on the sports. And since it was the Olympic time, there was two things that I thought about. One, oddly enough, was OJ's 2,000 yards in a 14-game season. That was unreal at the time.
Unreal.
Like it.
Unreal.
And Bruce Jenner in 1976 was the biggest phenomenon in this country after he won the decathlon. He was a bigger star than anyone in the NFL, NBA, or Major League Baseball. And now he's a TV reality. Shane, a couple of things. Shane added, Morris Collette beats the U in 2002. That was big, and he.
How'd that end up?
That was a good game.
Yep.
It was a good game, but nobody cares except for Ohio State fans.
All right, guys.
Sorry.
I'm going to do something different on Bet Your Nuts for the next 6 weeks. Or 8 weeks.
I'm going to look like a cheater before you say that. My Bet Your Nuts was the Dodgers tonight. Walker Buehler pitching. It's his birthday. And I didn't expect this to happen because they haven't scored anything, but it's 4-0 now. So it's not fair, but that on my child was my Bet Your Nuts, and I have written proof of it. So
we'll give you credit for it, even though you got kicked off. My Bet Your Nuts is I'm going to give you the winner of every division and the odds they're currently at in the NFL, and you're going to place your bets over the next 8 weeks. And I'm going to start in the AFC South because I think it's the easiest one to pick. And I think it's 2.5 to 1 is the mobile app. I'm going to pick the Tennessee Titans to win the AFC South.
I know.
And I don't think it'll be close, Robbie. I think the Titans are going to. I think Indy's got a little something, but
no. Tannehill's one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL.
So, Raj, my Bet Your Nuts for the next 8 weeks, I'm going to give you the winner of each one of the NFL divisions. And I'm starting with the AFC and starting in the AFC South. And I gave the Tennessee Titans to win the AFC South at I think it's 2.5 to 1. So
Hmm.
Titans to win the South.
I'm writing this down.
Robbie.
So just my bet my nuts pick.
Yeah.
So okay, so the draft. So there's not much going on here, and
That's the
we
reason I'm giving
established
divisions.
that I'm not a baseball fan. So I'm giving you the exact 3 picks for tomorrow night's NBA draft.
Oh shoot.
Yeah. So this is 450 to 1. So get rich, kids. So I've got number 1, Cade Cunningham, obviously.
Nephew.
Number 2, I've got Evan Mobley going. And then number 3, I've got Jalen Green. This is plus 450, guys. Get on it.
Most think that Mobley will probably go to the Cavaliers based upon contract situations, and Green could go second. It's all interesting to me because I thought Suggs was – there's like 4 or 5 guys in play for number 2, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. If you've got your number 2 right, you're probably money there, right?
Yeah.
All right,
Well,
guys. So I'll let y'all have words, but I do want to promote a couple of things. Again,
wait, did Ross just bet his nuts?
Yeah, the Dodgers.
I said the Dodgers, but then I dropped the call immediately, so that sounds like karma. So I swear I've written notes as to bet your nuts, but when I said that and they were up 4-0 now, my phone dropped the call. So sounds like karma to me. Can't do something when you're already up 4-0. So it was the Dodgers. I promise you, they were plus 125 with Walker Buehler pitching on his birthday. Even though the Dodgers have half their team, they're 1-10 in extra innings, and they've blown saves like 5 out of the last 9 games. But tonight was the night.
Nobody put one on the tee worse than me this week with picking the Titans. That's kind of like going out in the front yard and saying the grass.
Well, I thought you were going to pick every division winner. I thought you were.
One a week.
Okay.
We're 8 weeks from the start of the NFL season.
Wow, that's strong. Respect.
So, again, at Davis Kessler, the 17th, we'll try to be on the air early. If anybody wants to join us from our fantasy league or one of the fans or somebody wants to drop in, Shane, if you're free, please join us at Davis Kessler. And
of course, Shane's free. He doesn't do anything.
I think Criminal has going to be dropping by. All 12 members are welcome to rant why they will win our fantasy football league. Special guest coming in. I've got. He says he might be there. From the ACC, our buddy Justin Thomas that we had on a draft show, the San Francisco fan, he will be there to talk ACC football. From the Big Ten, our Off the Center sports card show guys out of Lyons, Michigan will be there to talk Big 12 football. Our buddy Chappie from Dr. Roto will be there. Shane, you can get in on the Big Ten talk. Our Pac-10 12 expert from USC, Mehta.
Expert.
And our SEC expert,
All of you.
the one and only Robbie Davis.
Oh boy, expert.
Y'all, I got my hands full just keeping y'all on time.
Hey,
Getting the show.
I'm always on time.
I should be there. I'm playing the violin right now, but I got minor back surgery on the 5th. It's outpatient, so I should be fine by then. Even if I'm not, they'll give me good drugs, so I'll be there. But just FYI.
I'll get you a bottle of bourbon and quit whining.
I'm saying, I mean, you've been through a lot worse than me, but I'm a lot younger than you.
Also,
Sweet.
for fantasy draft, for folks on the network, what we're working off right now is I'm going to set up a camera in a location next to her drive. After you make a pick, you can go into the confessional and you can explain why that's a great pick. You can explain how smart you are, how dumb
I would get a lot of
everybody
scores on this thing.
Don't make that crap
I
fly.
could do a 45-minute video about why my pick seems smart.
else. Yeah. So, and then after about a week of editing out all the inappropriate stuff, we plan on releasing a video somewhere on the internet.
Fanny pack.
Ice pack. Can't sit without it.
We,
Welcome to old age, bruh.
and we also got the two shows. Which, here's the honest truth, and I'm glad Shane brought it up. Hey, take this 20-second max on that, Robbie. 20-second max.
It better not be live, dude, with those morons. All of us morons.
I won't ever get on the air again. We are going to try to increase our coverage for football season. We don't have it definitely down. What I hope to put out is some DFS content on Sunday morning. There's 10,000 guys doing DFS content. I don't know how it's going to be different, but we're going to come up with something. And it'll be free. It's not like you're going to be paying for it. And then Shane and the guys are hoping to put together kind of a recap of NFL Sunday or college football Saturday and talk about that at some point. So we need people willing to do some shows is what we need. This show
We're not desperate though. I mean, I don't think we need some of the people.
I can probably do more. I can probably swing more.
Yeah. This show will probably expand to 2 hours for football season. I think we'll have that much material.
Well, we're at 146 now with no football season.
Yeah, we could go 4 hours and no problem. And I have a commitment to Chappie on Thursday nights, but there's an open time slot on Thursday from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock that we might do something in. So we're definitely going to kick it up. And again, if you're a friend and you want to see if you like this or want to get involved, please give me a yell. That's my rant for the day. Robbie Davis. Oh, Robbie, you got to go last. Just got to keep the talent to last. Raj, I know my role. I'm the first one. You can be the second most talented guy, so you can go next.
I highly disagree with your assessment. I'll say this. There's a very recent CNN article that said, and again, we don't want to get in this for too long, but Simone Biles and the Twisties is what she said. She basically wasn't 100%, even though she claims it's not because of a physical injury, but she wasn't able to do the same amount of rotations or twists for whatever reason, and she knew it. And the team was already behind, and the Russian gymnast the ROC gymnast was essentially going to win. Not to say that that's why she didn't do it. I don't want to use the word quit, but there's interesting articles on what she had said. And one of the things she said is, I just don't trust myself as much as I used to. And it goes to Robbie's point. It's, these are ridiculously athletically taxing events. And if she knows or thinks that she's going to get hurt, you can't do what she does, and that's essentially what she's saying. I'm a little bit more nervous when I do gymnastics. I feel like I'm also not having as much fun. On top of that, the pressure, put on her. Again, she was the golden girl, the star of the U.S. Olympics, the only person that anyone knew aside from USA basketball, in my opinion. That's a lot on a kid, So, again, to Robbie's point, big ups to Simone Biles. Took a lot of courage to do what she did.
Absolutely. Robbie, I don't know, Stephen A. Smith
Oh, the talent. Excuse me. Let me listen.
Go ahead. Bring us home.
Well, I'm not going to say much of anything, but I just want to say, funny story this morning. My mom, I'm going to Estill Springs this weekend to help take care of my mom who had knee surgery over the week. I think she had knee surgery on Monday. And then so we were, I'm following from a distance. I get out of the shower this morning, and I have 3 missed calls from my dad. And so I'm in a shower for 10 minutes. I'm assuming, oh my gosh, things are going bad. So I call my dad back, like fearing for the worst. And I call him, I'm like, hey, what's going on? He says, Texas and Oklahoma are joining the SEC, don't you? And I was like, good God, don't you get the internet? Although that's like 3 days old. But anyways, the moral of the story is, parents grow old and they
You have the internet.
keep up with the time sensitive information you do. I hope my mom gets well. You guys know her, or at least met her a couple times.
Greatest basketball team in the world.
Yeah,
She's rad. Very super rad.
usually wins our basketball tournament.
Except for her political beliefs, which I question
she's a little cuckoo on the Political beliefs. I'll be there this weekend, taking care of her as she recovers from knee surgery. I guess just enjoy your health.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good,
true.
Good call, host. Good call.
Yeah.
It's always fun. We'll slide back to our Tuesday time slot. Again, the swag is available. Brendan, just tell me what you want. I'll bring it to the from the draft that wants some swag. I'll get it. I'll get it out. It's going up on our Facebook page tomorrow. So we'll have it up. And again, the price, $15 for a hat. No, I think a price. Anyway, I got the prices wrote down somewhere. I'll get it. You can get a hat, a shirt, and a sticker for $40. That's the package we want everybody to take. So the sticker surprisingly has stuck for more than 2 weeks in the rain, so I can attest to its quality. So,
hey, I don't want to go into any details, but I want to say I applaud Randall for his victory on Tuesday.
Randall, thank you. Appreciate it.
Well done.
Long, hard ride sometimes, but like people had said, ain't it? It's a good ride. So thank you.
Divorce
sir.
sucks.
Let's see what's so Brandon Jane with the package. Robbie, you and Raj, I'll bring your stuff to you. Today we do the football show if I don't see y'all in between, okay?
All right.
What I came up with is 10% is going to go to the Kidney Foundation of Chattanooga. 10% of all our proceeds.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
So if
Wonderful.
you buy $40, $4 of it goes to benefit the Kidney Foundation. So
Wait till I get on my liver foundation campaign. I'm gonna need all y'all's money, not just a percentage. I need everything.
Bro,
it's
like Tennessee football.
Yeah.
Like Tennessee. Sorry, man. Like Tennessee football, lost cause, bro. But good on us. Sign me up for 2. I'm in. But yeah.
All right, bud. All right. For Randall Cunningham, for Robbie Davis, for Raj, may your drink stay cold and your team's on a hot streak. We'll talk to you later.
See you guys.